But obviously, if you look around, you see what we got, and we got that tropical oasis. We are over the moon. Everyone stops by our house all the time and goes, "Who did your landscaping?" I sit out here all the time and just look at it.
And then we ended up with, I think it was total of 19 species that we ended up having in the garden. I want to reiterate that you can really do and have a beautiful front yard garden with just a few species of plants that really kind of make it happen. So
No problem. I'm a big hugger, so I really
of course. Well, hello gardeners, welcome back. So today we are going to do a front yard garden tour. We are back here in Vero Beach again, Zone 10A, and I am happy and excited to do this front yard garden tour because, you know, I get a lot of comments, a lot of folks mentioning that, you know, I love your gardens, I love what you do, and yes, I do use a lot of varieties, species of plants, but this is one that we just finished, and you know, I counted up totally, and I think we are like at a species of 18. That includes plants, ground cover, existing material that was here. So if you're shopping and you're looking at nurseries and there's maybe not an excessive amount of different varieties of material, I love this landscape and my clients love this landscape. So I'm hoping that you can see that you can get a lot of impact without, you know, 50 different varieties of plants and trees. A lot of it is the way it's structured, the way it's set up, and I'll kind of go over that. I'll kind of go over placements and the reasons why I put things where I put them in case you're needing some inspiration to kind of create this in your own garden. But yeah, so I'll list the plant count, I'll list a little bit of characteristics about the plant and kind of why I did what I did, and I hope you guys really enjoy this video and find it informative. So let's get started. So this here, this is the front yard area, and I obviously plant species number one, which is almost always on my list, is the foxtail fern. It is my anchor tree. It is what I use as my impact. So we started off with creating it right at the edge of the walkway. If your HOA allows it, you guys do not be afraid to kind of drag your landscaping all the way up to the edge of the property line. I love the way that looks. Now, if it's too long, I can understand not doing that. But in this situation, my clients, it's a relatively very small front yard, and we didn't have a lot of width to work with. So when you don't have that and you want impact, you bring it down. You really angle it all the way down and kind of make use of that. This house called for that. There's a lot of big roof lines here, a lot of big impact, and so we needed to create that with the landscaping. So we have foxtail palms as our anchor trees. We've got 3 singles here, and they're doing really well. Again, this landscaping has only been in the ground, I don't know, it's maybe a month at most. So it's really starting to establish, really starting to take hold. And I wanted to bring you guys in while it's very young and very early, so that way you really get to see where the open spaces are, what the placement looked like, and you know, had a little better idea. So that way, if you tackled it for yourself, you had a little more knowledge on it. So going down below, the second grouping of plants, this is probably also a shocker, is the blaze copperleaf. Species number 2 would be the blaze copperleaf. I love the way they're going to surround this tree. I wanted something with some height. These guys are going to do their thing and come up into this range and really kind of give us a big, giant bit of kind of weight as you're coming up to the front. So they're going to be lovely. And then I just did a little dollop of the Blew My Mind, species number 3. And that's just a ground cover. And I just like the idea that we have something that's going to be about 1 foot coming up to something that's going to be 3.5 foot. So we already have 3 tiers in this little tiny section that are never going to compete with each other. And then coming up the driveway, species number 4 on the Java White Copperleaves. I just think these guys, yeah, I mean, look at how dark we are. We're dark, and then bright light with these guys and their colorful leaves. And then they're pretty now, but oh my gosh, in 6 months, they're going to be gorgeous. They're going to be absolutely stunners. They're going to connect together as one soft tropical curly hedge. And that's kind of what I wanted here. I wanted a little bit of height, a little bit of impact coming down this driveway, and that's kind of what they're going to do. So we're gonna come through here, and then again we did a rinse and repeat. I have a curled grouping of the blaze copperleaf there, so why not underneath this foxtail palm, the triple foxtail palm. And this is a nice skirt in front of it to kind of give us a little bit of weight here and a nice transition going into the front of the house. Now this whole area is pretty open. I mean, it's just pretty much from the street, it's pretty open. So I wanted a good amount of layering right here. Since we couldn't do layering right to the front of the house, I wanted the tiers to really start here. So in species number 5, these Rojo red copperleafs are going to do the trick. They're going to get taller than I am. I love the idea of them being a 6-foot red wall right here. They're going to be absolutely stunners. So 6 foot of a curved rear wall. They're kind of running right alongside this curved driveway corner, and I think they're going to just be a nice backdrop, which will show off these beautiful legs on this triple foxtail palm. So a nice rounded curved bed, and then these blaze copperleafs curve the opposite way. So they round here while these round this way, and these kind of round this way. You kind of see the method, how things are they kind of one goes into the next group and into the next grouping, but what kind of makes them distinguished is the height that those are going to be when they're matured. So these are always going to be lower than these. So that's kind of, and those are always going to be lower than those. So we have a low, medium, high, and then the impact that we're actually featuring. So these are like, they're supportive characters in the play. Then this is the star. So now we have that swath coming up to this area, and that blew my mind. And I think, didn't we count this species already? Yep, so this is a kind of a curved swath here. And then we chose, I needed another bright kind of coloring, just like the Java White Copperleafs, because I really like to do dark, light. So as things mature, and even though the heights are different, it's really, gosh, that's an interesting look. It feels like there's tons of different plant varieties when there's not, just because you go high, it's like high, low, but it's bright and dark. So I needed something bright. But I couldn't do Java Whites here, because Java Whites, as wonderful as they are, they do what they're intended to do, which is get nice, thick, big, 3 foot, 4 foot in range. I needed something that could easily be kept at 2 foot tall. So I ended up going with variegated arbicolas. They're a variegated leaf, just like the Java Whites, but they can keep those almost like a 2 foot hedge right here. And I needed something to be very controlled, so it didn't soften or didn't take away from that really cool rustic wall back there. I just think that was cool. And then we had enough impact. We didn't need anything high and too crazy around this cool false agave, and that is species number 7. So I mean, gosh, they're just awesome. And that's why I use them. They just they always make me look good. So, but I don't need anything dynamic, anything really heavy. What I really need is a very controlled bedding for those. So it looks like they just kind of pop up out of the bedding like the focal point that they are. I use them for a structure in the garden. They bring attention to an area without completely blocking it. So I didn't have any trouble putting them in front of this wall and feel like it's taken away from it at all. So everything around it, like the Blue My Minds, the Trinettes, and even the Golden Dews, are all going to be fairly small underneath of this. So I don't want to miss out. I've got 2 of these jasmine trees right in this corner, or tree jasmine, excuse me, right in this corner to the back. Those were part of the original builder's package, but I'm going to include them. I just repurposed them into this bed, and that species 8. So, and then we're coming over here to along the wall. Again, nothing too big. I wanted it to stay nice and compact and small. Burley marks do that for me, but I really needed a shot of dark coloration. So those burley marks are going to stay small, stay compact. I love how nice and rounded they are. So they're really going to be in that 2.5 foot range and kind of give us some impact. And then to draw it forward, I brought in the Farfugium, species number 10. So the Farfugium, there's only 1, and so you guys, I feel like I'm adding these in, but there's like 2 and 1, and you know, we're getting a lot of that. So kind of keep that in mind. You can really dial this down to a handful of species, but just because I want to incorporate a little bit of something different, you know, we had 1 and 2 of certain things. So The Farfugium is going to get a little bit bigger, but I love triangular formations, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but I love how those two are going to be nice and solid in the back. And then we've got something a little bit that's going to be a little bit more wild behind this bottle palm. So those big round leaves, they're going to stem out and kind of crawl around the base of the bottle palm, which will be really, really cool when that happens. So I think that's going to be so, so cool. Go to the next one. So this is my little bottle palm. He's really, really starting to take off. He's very young when we put him in last month, and I can see that he's starting to root in and do really well. But gosh, you just can't go wrong with a bottle palm in front of a window. I just think that it's so upright, so soft, so delicate, and even when they get bigger, they're just, and it does take time, but I just love the petite species that they are. So and they just don't put out a lot of fronds, so it's not like a heavy planting in the front. And you notice that I put everything that was heavy to the sides. I didn't want in any way to cover up this really cool architecture of the house, and that's a big thing, even when you have small lots, to make sure that you really do put the weight on the edges and then kind of dial it in with more of the interesting, kind of more delicate things in front of those lower areas, in front of those areas that you don't want it to be too heavy. So I think it accomplished that, but you'll have to let me know what you think. So now we're at species 12 with the gold mound. So these are golden dews or gold mound, but they do a nice bit of pop of bright color. And yeah, I guess you can notice this with my theme. It's a rinse and repeat of that. It's dark and then goes into light, and then it breaks, and then it's dark and it goes into light. And that's the kind of look that I like overall. So that way when you're looking at the whole space, you not only get different variations of height, but you get lights and darks and lights and darks. So I think I love that part about landscaping. As things really mature, that really comes together. So then we're going to go into the next grouping, which is the foxtail ferns, and that's species 13. Lucky number 13. I love foxtail ferns. They kind of just add that little bit of wild look to them. I think they're very, very cool, and they're kind of soft in front of this very cool false agave. So it's really going to give a nice bit of impact on this corner. I've got two matching agaves, and I think that they're just kind of really, really looking good in this space and kind of giving you that dynamic look like they do. So I'm going to go ahead and count this, but it was part of the builder's package. That little Florica Auntie Lou, it was here in the builder's package, and I kind of needed something kind of a finial at the end of the bed, so I repurposed it for right there. So that makes it 14, so species number 14. But again, we're talking about one plant. There's a lot of one plants in here, so I feel like, you know, you could get away with a lot less if you needed to. And then, of course, finish it off with this fabulous foxtail palm. Again, he's fairly young, but he is really kind of a nice chunky little ending point to this bed, but it kind of really sets the tone. We've got three dynamic areas in this front where we hit foxtail palms with, and then did more subtle things in front of those. So I think that came across really, really well. And then kind of came around here with the blaze copperleaf. Now these blaze copperleaf, I mentioned the clients to let them get kind of some size to them. I really like the idea of them getting around that 4 or 5 foot range here. Normally I would keep them the same height I kept the other blaze copperleaf. However, they have a very busy mailbox station right next to their house. So having this kind of ring of some thick, dense height here, I think is going to be a really good thing. Just gives them a little added privacy for the side of their yard or when they're coming up the driveway, so if they need it. But and then this was part of the builder's package, this little pygmy date palm, and that would be species number 15. And we added a couple pygmy date palms on that side over there, but this one we went ahead and repurposed it here since it was part of the builder's package. And I know you guys, builder's packages they're meant to be entry packages. They're meant to get you into the home, get your CO done. I know that they're not always, I know they're very vanilla because that's the way they're supposed to be. There's kind of a mass planting for everybody. So if at all possible, I try to use the plant and tree material within the builder's package as much as possible by repurposing it here and repurposing it there, because I hate to waste anything. But in a lot of cases, I like to jazz up and bring up my own material. So, well, let's move on to the area just to the other side of the driveway, and then we'll continue with our plant species count. So we're at the other side now, and normally I would put another foxtail palm adjacent to the other foxtail palm, especially when you're coming up a front entrance. But because of the box and all of the lines in the whole neighborhood. It felt like we're right here. We were not able to do much planting here. So what I did is I just shifted it back a little bit. I did do a similar combination of plant groupings that I have on the other side, so it all feels like it matches. It all feels like it has a rhythm and runs together. So we've got the blaze copperleaf that are going to get 3 foot. We've got the Java white copperleaf that are just going to get a tad taller, and hopefully do a good job of kind of giving them a bit of a visual barrier on this electrical box. So and then we work our way up. Again, we drop back down to the blaze copperleaf, and then we drop up 2 species. I think we're at 16. You guys will have to let me know, but I think we're at 16 now. And these yellow hibiscus are going to flush out. It looks like we've had some rabbit chewing. Rabbit season, it's tough. But they're blooming in spite of the rabbits and doing very, very well. They're going to get into this area. Now, I love yellow and peach and pink. Those are my favorites on the hibiscus. And I want, notice that we went high, low, high, and then we also did the same thing with coloration. So we've got light color to dark color, we started with dark color, light color, dark color, light color. It's so on. It just kind of continues going on and on and on. But I love the idea because these yellow hibiscus, if my clients want them to stay 4 foot, they can. But I love the idea of them getting 6 foot, kind of letting them wrap around this hole and just be a blast of color underneath this tree. I just think that's going to be so, so nice. And hibiscus in general, if you can keep them around the 5 foot range, they're going to be so much happier than keeping them at the 3 foot range. I know that on the ticket it says they can be maintained at 3 foot, but they just don't bloom nearly as nice as when they're that 5-6 foot range. So because this is the side of the house and it's kind of just buffering the neighbor's island, why not? I let them get this kind of height and really be a big pile of yellow. So I like that bush clustering. And then down below we have the Blew My Minds. We're in the evening hours because we were hoping that it was going to be a little bit cooler today. And the Blew My Minds have closed up, that little, bloom that they have. I love that they go to sleep, but I wish they would wake up for the camera today because when they're open, they're absolutely stunning. When they're asleep, they just look like they have little teardrop blues. But anyway, so yellow and blue. You can't go wrong with yellow and blue. And then we've got some height here. Now, the clients were able to bring in Java white copperleafs. They were able to ask the builder for those when they did the builder's package because I met with them before they actually did the installation. So we went through a list of plants and trees that if they could incorporate those as part of their builder's package fee, then go ahead and use them and I'll repurpose them. And that's exactly what we did. So they had the Java white copperleafs here, which were a stunning, beautiful clustering, and we just reused them here along this side. So I think they did really, really well. And then right along this flat side of the driveway, we took what was originally their main tree. This was their main builder's package tree, which is a very young triple foxtail. So we repurposed it here instead of where they had it, which I think was originally there. It just wasn't quite big enough for that spot. So on this flat side of the driveway, it'll do well. My guys, they know how to fertilize. They're good gardeners. They're going to really kind of get into making sure that everything stays nice and healthy. So I know this tree is going to be stunning. It's just a bit of a baby right now. So, but yeah. So, and then we got the rosy curly copperleaf, and I believe we're at 17. That's species number 17 for that. So literally, these are just. You guys haven't noticed, I love copperleafs. I think that they do a fantastic job when you've got more moist soil. And a lot of these new developments have the most gorgeous houses. I mean, the new houses are absolutely stunning. The soil, on the other hand, is a lot to deal with. So a lot of it is clay, a lot of it holds water. So I think copper leaves that's the reason why I use a lot of copper leaves, because they can combat that. They can handle a lot of that held moisture. So that's kind of why I use them in particular homes more often versus a sandy soil home. So if that's you and you like the look of copper leaves, you just hit gold, because you can put copper leaves everywhere. They're very easy to contend with when you have a more moist soil base. So, so these are the rosas. Very, very cool plants and very, very small. They're never going to compete again with those Rojo Red, Louisiana Red copper leaves. Finished it off with their other Java white copper leaves that they had from the builder's package. Dialed in, brought it down in front of these pygmies because I couldn't put these in front of the pygmies because these pygmies are young and it was going to take forever for them to get to size. So those Java whites would be here before those pygmies would be there. So what I chose to do is take the little roses at the bottom and keep them there because those can literally be kept that size forever, or you can let them get 3 foot, but it's so easy to maintain them. They're dwarf and they can sustain a small planting, or sustain being a small planting for a very long time, for their whole life. So, so it's kind of a cool little grouped planting there. So I know we already counted the pygmy species from over there, but we have 2 pygmies that we brought in. This is to kind of give a little bit of a barrier from when you're driving up this driveway, to give them a little bit of denseness and thickness. So I think they're going to do a nice job with flanking that as they become big boy pygmies. Right now they're still pretty young. So all right, so that brings us to species number 18. So that is the triangle fan palm. It's almost like I saved the best for last. I mean, I absolutely love this guy. It's such a cool, it's very young, but I love the coloring. I love the shape. It's the perfect shape for this particular spot. I kind of wanted something that was going to be very fan-based, kind of giving you almost a finial at the end of this driveway. So this is going to turn into kind of a little bit of a wall right here as everything really grows in and this tree really becomes the staple from the driveway that it needs to be. So this will eventually be the tree that I wanted. In the perfect world, I would have loved to found it about 4 foot bigger. And there was some taller ones in the farms when I was looking, but none of them had the right color and had the right shape. So I'm always willing to sacrifice a smaller tree for the perfect tree for the spot, and that's exactly what happened here. And my clients are so on board that once I, went over that with them, they're like, yeah, just bring the right tree for the right spot, and that's exactly what we did. This tree grows about 3 foot a year, so in no time it really will kind of give them that height and that look that that I really want to see in this space. So this is a fantastic little tree that's really going to do the trick. And then I, finished it off with some Blue My Minds in the front, because Blue My Minds, and I think I've mentioned this in other videos, can handle the heat off of these pavers. These pavers put off tons of heat. So whatever you put along the edge of pavers, you want to make sure that it is tough, it's durable, it can handle that bounce back heat, because if not, you can really burn up a plant, and I've done it, so I know this. You can burn up a plant species quickly along the paver line. So, oh, I have a mystery plant here. So we have a mystery add-on species number 19, I guess. This was originally part of the builder's package, and we kind of just gave a little cluster plant grouping here because they survived the builder's package, which there wasn't a whole lot that survived it right after it was planted, and these were left. So we ended up just putting a little collection of 3 of them right here. So a little bit of variegated gingers. So just letting them kind of come up the gutter line and kind of get some size. So apparently we can't count. So that's a total of species of 19. But again, we've got 1 and 2 and, little pops of them here. I would say you're probably looking at overall maybe 14, 15 total species if you're looking at how many we used amongst the whole garden, the big thick swooshes of plants and trees. So you really can get away with just a handful variety of plants to really kind of give yourself a nice bit of pizzazz in your front yard garden. It doesn't have to be a whole backup of nurseries to do that. So you can start in sections. That's exactly how I started my own house. I took one section, kind of figured out what I wanted to do with it, played with some colors, played with some height variations, and then just did that section and started letting it grow in. It really gave me great inspiration to kind of get started with the next section, the next section, the next section. So when I'm working with clients, I even tell them that way. If we've got to work in phases, no problem. Let's tackle the phase that's the most important for you to tackle, where you want that impact, and then we'll just kind of work from there. Because, landscaping is never finished, even for me, and I have like this much land left. So I will be planting that land in no time. So it's gardening is never done, and that's the best part about gardening, because it's always evolving. You're always touching and adding things. So don't feel like you have to get it all done in one day. But anyway, I hope this video gives you guys some inspiration on getting out in your garden and doing some of using some of these variations, because these are tried and true and tough plants of Florida. So I love the idea that they're not all these delicates and ornamentals and things like that. We do have a lot of material that that can withstand our pests, our temperatures, our rains. You know, it's a challenging place to plant. So I hope I give you enough inspiration and enough information to where you feel like, you know what, I'm going to go pick up 15 of these. I think that those are going to work in my space. And that if that happens and you do that, thank me by putting that in the comments down below, because I live off of that kind of stuff. I love your kind comments, this community that's been built. Super, super awesome. And Bryce and I love to just kind of go through those and read those. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for those of you who comment regularly, and you know, I look forward to reading them. So I will let you go now, and I will see you in the very next video tour. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if this is your jam, if this is what you like to see. And good luck, gardeners out there. It's hot. Drink a lot of water and a lot of wine. See you later. So hey, you guys, I don't always get to get my clients in the video, but Tyrone has agreed to just kind of say hello and share a moment of what he thought of the project, the experience. This is very special to me because you guys on YouTube, he was one of you guys on YouTube, contacted me. We walked through the garden. He loved the style. He loved the kind of the concept of what we do, and you know, and then the rest is history. And now we're friends, and we're going to do multiple phases through his project. And so I wanted to just introduce him and obviously say thank you so much for letting us tour your beautiful garden and being here. Would you mind telling our friends, our garden community on YouTube, what you thought of the service?
First, I will say is it was stellar. There's nothing I would say I can't ask for more. You make the phone call, and it was that, to me, we were a little bit of fans. So we were, oh my God, she actually answered the phone. We thought somebody else was going to answer the phone. And then we went through the process, and the process started with you coming in. Awesome. Amazing. Came in, you gave us everything we wanted, asked us what plants we liked, what we didn't like. And us being from up north, it's a very big difference in what we get down here. We all come down and I want palm trees. I don't want nothing but palm trees. But obviously, if you look around, you see what we got, and we got that tropical oasis, and we are over the moon.
Awesome.
Over this. I mean, it's everyone stops by our house all the time and goes, who did your landscaping?
Yes, and we are actually going to do the neighbors right across the street in like 2 weeks. So it's true. It really has. It has appealed to most of the neighborhood. I will say that I rarely get. Most of the time, I go through my iPad with my clients or my future clients, and I say, tell me the plants that you like and don't like, just to kind of give me some ideas of their style. They were extremely tough, these two. Okay, because both of them were like, every single plant was a yes. Oh, I love it. Let's do it. I love it. I love it. Yep. I love it. I love it. And I'm like, so my goal at that point was to find a plant they didn't like so I could put it on the no list. Yeah. And then we ended up with, I think it was a total of 19 species that we ended up having in the garden. So, and that was including some of the builder's package that that we reincorporated into the design. So, so I want to reiterate that you can really do and have a beautiful front yard garden with just a few species of plants that really kind of make it happen. So
I think the big thing I want everybody to realize is don't limit yourself. Don't feel embarrassed to say no. Don't feel embarrassed to say you're over the top. It's the best thing for you, because you have to live with the landscaping at the end of the day.
Yes.
And we are, I sit out here all the time and just look at it. So I'm telling you, if you will not go wrong, pick them, go with them, trust the process. Trust the process, let it work, and you will be amazed. My biggest, one last tip. Watch all the videos so you can kind of come prepared. So you kind of know.
They were prepared. I mean, they were like, video number 14 is the one that I like.
Yes,
they were on it.
You will know, and it really helps the process a lot. And I think that, we are, again, I can't ask for more. I'm really ready for phase 2. We have to wait a little bit because, like you said, you ask for showstopper, you get it. So
that's right.
We're going to work on that, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited.
I love that, because when a lot of my clients, we want to work our way all the way around the yard, wait and do it the way you want it, and if as the budget allows, because that way you get everything you want instead of just trying to do everything in one big wham bam, thank you ma'am, all done. You want to kind of get it all the way you want it, every single phase. That way when you're done and you're complete and everything's grown in, it's the tropical paradise that you originally wanted. So so I know that's going to happen with these guys. Thank you so much, Tyrone.
No problem. I'm a big hugger. So
of course.
So this is, I'm telling you, you guys are always welcome here anytime. Come back anytime you want. And guys, trust me, phase 2 will be even, we'll go beyond this. I'm telling you.
We'll be back for video 2 on phase 2. So thank you again. Thank you so much.
No problem, you guys.
All right, you guys, we're out.